Welcome to the Dave Mierswa Show, the cutting-edge talk show about legal, political, and current issues. Practicing in both Wisconsin and Illinois, David Mierswa is a leading trial attorney bringing nearly 2 decades of business law, family law, personal injury, and estate planning experience to you. The Dave Mierswa Show, about the people, for the people, and bringing justice to the people. The Dave Mierswa Show, its guests, agents, and WRLR are not rendering any legal advice. All listeners are encouraged to seek legal advice from properly licensed and qualified professionals.
Okay, welcome back to the Dave Mierswa Show. I'm your host of my show, Dave Mierswa. And just to remind everyone, if you're first tuning into the show, I've been a lawyer for almost 20 years. And I have been litigating. I've been a trial lawyer for almost 20 years. And also would practice transactional law as well. So this show is about the people, for the people, and bringing justice to the people. I was just talking about the most recent developments in the 2016 politics between the Democrats and the Republicans. So let me get into what Ted Cruz has to say about the last caucus in Nevada. Give me a second here and I'll cue it up.
They're still counting the ballots, so we don't know the exact result. But I want to congratulate Donald Trump on a strong evening tonight. And I want to congratulate the grassroots, the conservatives across this country who have come together behind this campaign. And the undeniable reality that the first 4 states have shown is that the only campaign that has beaten Donald Trump and the only campaign that can beat Donald Trump is this campaign. You can choose between 2 Washington dealmakers or 1 proven, consistent conservative. But I want to thank the great people of Nevada, and I want to say, I cannot wait to get home to the great state of Texas. Thank you, and God bless you.
Okay, so that was Ted Cruz after the Nevada caucus, and Trump ended up winning that. Before I play part of his victory speech, I want to play Marco Rubio and what he had to say on Nevada.
Florida Senator and Republican presidential candidate Marco Rubio is with us from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Senator, good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations on your second place showing in Nevada. Many people are asking this question this morning. I said, as the route narrows, as the establishment so-called makes endorsements, many of them of you, is it simply too little too late to stop Donald Trump, especially if he does very well on the SEC day, the Super Tuesday voting?
Yeah, I think it's important to take a deep breath here. First of all, the Republican nomination is decided by delegates. It's over 1,200 delegates you need to have. We're nowhere even near that number of people that have yet even been filed, much less being able to win them. And in that sense, the votes that are happening between now and the 15th, before the 15th, all these states are awarding delegates proportionally. It's not based on how many states you win. It's based on how many delegates you picked up. Now, he does have a delegate advantage, but it's not overwhelming. In fact, there are plenty of states out there that in the winner-take-all category that if you win them, you more than catch up. So I think what needs to happen here, though, is this race needs to continue to narrow because Donald Trump, for example, he underperformed Mitt Romney yesterday in Nevada. 4 years ago, Mitt Romney got over 50% of the vote there. So it shows there's a significant number of Republicans, even in Nevada, who do not want Donald Trump to be their nominee, but right now it's divided up among 4 people.
But right now, Mr. Rubio, you have yet to beat him, including the latest poll in your home state of Florida shows that you're not even beating him in your own home state. At what point, at what state do you think that you're going to be the one to trump Donald Trump?
Well, we'll win in Florida. You know, now that Governor Bush is no longer in the race, him and I split up a lot of the support in Florida, so that will help us. And again, as far as going into next week, we feel great about almost every state that's on the map. So there has to be a coalescing here. I think that process began after South Carolina. I think it will continue after our second place showing in Nevada last night. And we're going to keep working hard. We're in Michigan already. We were here last night for a rally. We're headed to Houston, Texas today for the debate tomorrow and a rally today. So we feel great about the work we're putting in and what it's going to lead to when this process plays out.
Okay, so that was, excuse me, that was Marco Rubio on coming in second place in the Nevada caucus last week. So, you know, pretty cool that he's hanging in there. Jeb Bush went the way of the highway about a week and a half ago. On my last radio show, I played an audio clip that gave his resignation speech from the caucus. So he did it in a classy way. I got to say, when Bush left, he did it in a classy way. That's pretty awesome. Let's hear what Trump has to say about the Nevada caucus. And again, this is an audio clip from Fox News.
It's midnight on the East Coast, 9 p.m. in Nevada, where doors are now closed at 141 caucus sites across the Silver State. That means Fox News can now project that businessman Donald Trump will win Nevada's Republican presidential caucuses based on Fox entrance polls. Florida Senator Marco Rubio appears to be ahead of Texas Senator Ted Cruz in the battle for second place, although it's too early to know for sure. Far behind are Ohio Governor John Kasich and retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson.
This is the third win in a row for Donald Trump, who earlier this month won South Carolina and New Hampshire after placing second in Iowa. So Trump's 3 out of 4 winning streak gives him significant momentum as he heads into Super Tuesday next week, which is the biggest prize of this campaign so far.
And you can see the cheering at Trump headquarters there in Las Vegas. Let's bring back our panel here in New York City. Steve Hayes, Kirsten Powers, Juan Williams, and Dana Farino. Hard to overstate how significant this is, 3 in a row.
Trump by a mile, big tailwind behind his back. And also on the question of his ceiling, it could be that the more you win, then the more you can raise your own ceiling. And I think it's what you'll hear from the Rubio camp, I think, is that they're going to try to get this to a 2-person race. And that is quite a...
I just tweeted out, I bet the Rubio had a 3-2-1 strategy. 2-1-1-1.
We're self-defined as evangelicals. Win somewhere, right?
There needs to be a 1.
Okay, so that was a clip from Fox News. Trump won last Nevada caucus. And coming up again next Tuesday is Super Tuesday. And there are 12 to 13 states at risk, including Florida, Michigan, I believe Illinois, and also Texas. And I believe there are 155 delegates in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And that is the home state of Ted Cruz. So some polls are showing that Ted Cruz is winning there, but again, the latest poll that I listened to was about 72 hours old. So who knows? And there are so many states at play here. Now, I said before, one of the important things that goes on in politics are getting these endorsements. These endorsements are very important that the states that you're caucusing in. And also, to solidify your national campaign, these endorsements really become important, and then it shores up your campaign. So last week was a huge endorsement, and I'm not going to tell you who it is. Let me just play the audio clip, and then I'll make some comments on it.
Fox News alert, what we've been waiting for. Donald Trump, Governor Chris Christie, podium, Texas, watch.
It's my honor this morning to introduce somebody who is a real standout. He's been my friend for many years. He's been a spectacular governor. He's been just a wonderful person and a wonderful, loyal person. Done a really good job. Totally destroyed Marco Rubio the other day. I have never quite seen it. I was standing next to Marco Rubio and he melted. I said, "Are you all right, Marco?" And, you know, I really give Chris credit for that. He's a real talent. And I would like to introduce him because he's going to say something that I think you'll find very, very interesting. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. I am proud to be here to endorse Donald Trump for President of the United States. I'm doing this for a number of reasons. First is that Donald and I, along with Melania and Mary Pat, have been friends for over a decade. He has been a good and loyal friend to our family, as we have been to he and his family. And over the years, we've had a lot of wonderful times together. Done a lot of good together for not only the people of the state of New Jersey, but for many charities that we've worked with and on together. And I absolutely appreciate him as a person and as a friend. Secondly, I've been on that stage. I've gotten to know all the people on that stage. And there is no one who is better prepared to provide America with the strong leadership that it needs, both at home and around the world, than Donald Trump. He is, looking at the 5 people on that stage last night, the clear standout and the person who will do exactly what needs to be done to make America a leader around the world again. He'll provide strong, unequivocal leadership. He will do what needs to be done to protect the American people, first and foremost, both in the homeland and in creating jobs for this country. And he will make sure that people around the world know that America keeps its word again. Donald Trump is someone who, when he makes a promise, he keeps it. I've experienced that over my long friendship with him. And what the American people and our allies around the world are going to understand is that Donald Trump is someone who keeps his word, and that means America will keep its word again.
Okay, so that was Chris Christie, governor of New Jersey. And there was some talk about him making a play to get into the Trump administration if he reaches is nominated the Republican national candidate. So Trump said that it's way too early in the politicking and the caucus to make any decisions like that. But that's a pretty strong endorsement on the East Coast from Chris Christie. So that's pretty cool. But I said before that when I do this radio show, that I'm going to cut through the fog. This show, right now, a lot of Americans feel like they're lost. They feel like they're in some kind of political haze, and that their life, they can't, they live a life in fog, and they're trying to cut through all of the personal things going on in their lives. But this show will keep you informed of super important topics that kind of get lost in the media, especially under all the Trump. All the media loves Trump, they hate him, and so forth. But last week, one of the most important things that I predicted at the end of 2015 was that President Obama was going to close Gitmo. That's Guantanamo Bay, where all of these prisoners are being held. All of these terrorists are being held. Let me play the next audio clip concerning the closing of Gitmo.
For many years, it's been clear that the detention facility at Guantanamo Bay does not advance our national security. It undermines it. It's counterproductive to our fight against terrorists because they use it as propaganda in their efforts to recruit. Today, the department is submitting to Congress our plan for finally closing the facility at Guantanamo once and for all.
And that was President Obama earlier this morning announcing his administration's plans for the closing of the U.S. detention center at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Welcome to your Tuesday lunch break, everyone. I'm Tanya Rivero. Mr. Obama says in addition to making the U.S. safer, the closure will save $1.7 billion over 20 years. But how will this all play out in an election year? Joining us now with more details is Felicia Schwartz from our Washington Bureau. Hi, Felicia. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Felicia, this seems to be a last chance for the president to make good on his campaign promise to close Gitmo. What are the details of the plan outlined by the White House so far?
Not a ton more than haven't already come out in the past few months. The plan mentions 13 possible facilities, but doesn't name them specifically. There's a cost estimate. It's up to $475 million in construction costs that officials say will be offset by other savings in, I guess, 3 to 5 years. And there's some other kind of more technical things to speed up some of the legal processes that accompany the prison.
So, Felicia, do we know how many detainees are currently held at Guantanamo Bay? And I know we don't know exactly where they're expected to go, but is there any speculation?
Sure. So there are 91 left. The Obama administration has transferred 147 since Obama took office, so 91 is an all-time low. The plan calls for moving these, at least some of the detainees. There are 10 facing charges or going through trials through the military commission system, and then 46 others who haven't been approved for transfer, some who ultimately will be, but others who probably won't. And those detainees will have to be moved somewhere in the U.S. To one of those 13 facilities, but which one, we don't know.
Okay, so you just heard that audio clip that you heard President Obama himself. And I predicted in January that he was going to be headstrong and close Gitmo at the expense of our security. And you heard that there are 91, they call them prisoners. I call them terrorists. I call them for what they are. They don't assign themselves to any one national or international recognized army. They are nothing more than terrorists. I just read some statistics this past week that 30% of the Gitmo terrorists that are released are circulated back into the war on terrorism against the United States, against American allies, against American facilities throughout the world, that they are going back into the fight on terrorism against the United States and all of our allies. And I believe it was 30 to 40%. And it was just a week ago or a week and a half ago that one of the recently released Gitmo terrorists was on the news again and making videos on training terrorists against the United States. So this is what President Obama wants to do. He, in my opinion, is sacrificing our security. We have already spent billions of dollars at war. You know, I'm not going to get into the debate on the cost of the war. And then he cites about saving $1.2 billion, but that's ridiculous. They have to revamp all these other facilities. And what's worse is he wants to bring these terrorists on American shores, which is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. He wants to bring these terrorists on American shore. So we got 91 terrorists left. These are the hardcore worst of the worst of these terrorists. In my opinion, they ought to remain where they are, and to transfer them to American shore and give them access to civilian courts or federal courts here in the United States. They are not U.S. citizens, and they shouldn't have access to American courts. Only under the military courts, and they should be held at Gitmo. This is going to become a heated topic in 2016. It is just being re-recognized by all of the remaining candidates, including the Republicans and the Democrats. So I predicted that President Obama was going to try to close Gitmo. Now, the good news is that the Republic-held Congress is already aware of this. They have already passed laws that he cannot transfer these terrorists. So let's see if Obama is going to usurp the Constitution once again and then transfer these prisoners. These, again, they're not prisoners, the terrorists. Let's see if he's going to work around Congress to fulfill one of his campaign promises. You know, I talked about, trying to figure out Obama. And he's very simple to figure out. He's got his agenda. That's all he looks at. He's got his agenda in a box. And that's all he looks at. That's all he cares about. He doesn't look at other implications of what happens to America.
So what is the timeline for the president's plan? Will he be going?
Okay, hit a wrong button there. I apologize about that. Getting back to the point, Obama, let's see if he's going to follow Congress in what happened, or is he going to usurp the Constitution and transfer these terrorists outside of the Constitution again. So let's see what happens there. Once again, I'm at the end of my radio show. This hour just flies. I always try to bring you these top topics. I always try to bring you cutting edge topics. So once again, you've been listening to the Dave Mierswa Show, and I'll be back next Sunday. And most importantly, I'll be talking about the results of Super Tuesday. So tune in next Sunday, 12 noon. I'll be talking about Super Tuesday. So all of my shows are uploaded to law540.com. Go to law540.com. And then also my show today is being videotaped, and this will be uploaded to YouTube in the next couple of days. So all you listeners and friends out there, I thank you for tuning in to my radio show, and I get a lot of support from the listeners out there, and I appreciate all of you listeners. So it looks like it's going to be a great Sunday. Make sure that you take care of yourself and your family today. Enjoy today, and then tune in next Sunday, 12 noon for Super Tuesday. Take care of yourself and your families now. Thank you.